Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I am doing an updated 2022 midterms governor prediction following the Virginia and New Jersey 2021 governor's races. So before I get started, first things first, make sure to like the video and subscribe. And I'm also going to put Virginia and New Jersey both as safe red and safe blue, just to be clear. That's not the margins, that's just so we know like who won the race, just being clear. So, first things first, the state of Maine. Maine, I think, starts off. Janet Mills is running against former Governor Paul LePage. Ranked choice voting is now implemented in Maine, so Republicans do face a tougher time of winning now since that's been put in. And also, every time Paul LePage won, he did win with a plurality of the vote. So that being said, I do think Janet Mills starts off as a favorite to win this race. I think it'll be probably very close and hard fought, but I do think Janet Mills starts off as the favorite. The state of New Hampshire starts off as a battleground state because I'm predicting that Sununu will run for Senate. So the candidates for the governor's race are still to be determined. I can give some potential names. On the Democratic side, Representative Chris Pappas looks like his district will be getting realigned. So if it goes into the Republican lean that it's looking like the map proposed, Chris Pappas may just say forget it and running for governor. So he's a potential Democratic candidate, and I think he'd be a very strong candidate to win statewide. Also, Mayor of Manchester, Joyce Craig, who just won re-election, she is also another notable Democratic candidate. On the Republican side, former Senator Kelly Ayotte is someone who is a strong candidate who has been looking at running in 2022, so she may run. Governor Sununu's Secretary of Education, whose name is escaping me right now, he's shown some interest in potentially running as well. And one name to keep an eye on, his wife is running for CD1, but Scott Brown may potentially be a factor in running in 2022. If, say, Kelly Ayotte decides not to run and the Republicans don't have a candidate, Scott Brown may jump in. So, for now, I'm going to put New Hampshire in a very close battleground column, but yeah, I'm going to leave it at that for now. The state of Vermont, Phil Scott, I'd expect him to run for re-election, and I think he'll win. Massachusetts, Governor Charlie Baker has not announced what he's going to do yet, but I'm assuming he runs again, and he will win. The only problem for him will be getting through the primary. If Jeff Deal is the nominee statewide, I think things get much, much closer, and Democrats have a much better shot at winning the governor's race that way. But, yeah. Rhode Island, I think Rhode Island starts off as pretty safe. I don't see any Republican candidate doing all that well. The state of Connecticut often has much closer governor's races than expected, so for that alone, I'll put Connecticut in the likely column, but I'm not expecting that close of a race. The state of New York, Andrew Cuomo is not on the ballot, so I don't see New York being too close. New York goes safe Democrat. The state of Maryland, Larry Hogan cannot run for re-election. He is term limited, so I expect Democrats to flip the state back and win pretty big. State of Pennsylvania in the battleground column, this one's going to be very, very close. Lou Barletta is the most notable Republican running. I believe his name is Josh Shapiro, the Democratic Attorney General. He is running. That would be a very close and hard-fought matchup that I do want to come back to. Ohio, for me, it's all about the Republican primary, Jim Renacci versus Mike DeWine. I'm honestly calling a very early upset. I think Jim Renacci may actually end up beating Mike DeWine in the primary. And even still, I think Ohio probably goes likely to safe at the national level. In the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer versus James Craig. This is the race to watch. This is very, very close. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Tony Evers as well. Definitely an interesting race to keep an eye on. Waiting to see who the Republican candidate will be. If Republicans can get a very well-known candidate with a lot of name recognition, this could be a potentially very, very close race. The former lieutenant governor for Scott Walker is either running or interested in running, so that's something to keep an eye on. The state of Minnesota is looking like a Tim Walz likely win for now, so I put that there. Iowa, I believe, the governor whose name's escaping me for some reason. Either way, I think she'll probably win in the likely column as well. Illinois, Pritzker should probably win re-election pretty safe. I don't really see any notable Republican challengers. Arkansas, I expect that to be Sarah Huckabee Sanders, but we'll wait and see. She'll win safe. Tennessee should be safe. Alabama and South Carolina as well. Georgia, Georgia should be very, very close. Definitely going to want to come back to that one. Florida, Ron DeSantis versus Charlie Crist. A lot of polls, I think, are trying to scare things one way or another. I don't see this being close at all. Ron DeSantis wins by over 10% of the vote. I don't think Ron DeSantis is in much trouble of losing at all. A lot of polls that are like, ooh, is Crist up 7? Yeah, those are like as trustworthy and reliable as that poll that had Murphy up in New Jersey by 14. Like, it's not going to happen. South Dakota, Kristi Noem, she should win safe. Nebraska should be safe. The state of Kansas, Democratic Governor Laura Kelly, she's not doing too bad, actually. A lot of polls do approve of her. However, I do think this race narrowly flips back to the Republican side as long as Chris Kobach is not the nominee, which he is not running, so should be good. Oklahoma should be safe. Greg Abbott, I'm assuming right now it's Abbott versus Beto O'Rourke, in which case it is a likely Republican seat. If it's Matthew McConaughey versus Greg Abbott, things get a lot more interesting, so all right. We have to wait on that. Idaho will be safe for the Republicans. Wyoming will also be safe. Colorado, I'm expecting a likely win for Governor Polis. Actually, maybe safe, maybe likely. Given the environment, I'll put in the likely column, but that should not be too close. The state of New Mexico, I believe Mark Ronchetti is running on the Republican side. He's not a bad candidate. I'm going to make a surprise move and actually put New Mexico in the lean column. I think this race may actually be a lot closer than a lot of people expect. The state of Arizona, I'm putting in the battleground column. I thought it was going to be Kimberly Yee, but Kari Lake is running as well, and she seems to have the support and endorsement of Trump and a lot of other Trump Republicans, so that could be very, very close. Nevada, Sisolak versus Heller. Can't wait for that. That's going to be very, very close. Oregon should probably be safe. Actually, yeah, I'm going to put them safe for now. California should be safe. Hawaii should be safe. Alaska probably be safe for Dunleavy. So Democrats start off with 18 safe or leaning governorships. Republicans start off with 25. So I'm going to go through the ones that we can make predictions in right now. I think the state of Nevada is very, very close between Sisolak and Heller. And Sisolak has taken a little dip in his approval ratings. And the Virginia's governor's race is honestly kind of tilting me one way or another. I'm not too sure yet. I'm going to make a bold claim and say Dean Heller narrowly flips back the state of Nevada. It's bold. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think it will happen. Oh, not that it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's very bold. Arizona, looking like probably either Carly Lake or maybe Kimberly Yee versus Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs has been the foreseen Democratic candidate. She's not really well approved of too much in the state, which I was surprised about. So I do think Arizona is going to narrowly go to the Republicans in this race. I actually had the Democrat Mark Kelly winning the Senate race, so this would be a vote split. But if any state's going to do that, Arizona makes the most sense. Next, I will go to the state of Wisconsin. Tony Evers against, who knows, maybe it's Kevin Nicholson. Maybe it's the former lieutenant governor for Scott Walker. Maybe Paul Ryan decides to run again. Maybe Ryan Priebus decides to step in. I did a video on that over a year ago now. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't think Tony Evers survives re-election. I think he will lose to the Republican nominee. The state of Michigan, this one might be a shocker. Gretchen Whitmer, James Craig. I think Whitmer is a one-term governor. I just think she's taken such a hit in her approval ratings. And is it weird? I kind of feel bad, Like, she's been taking a lot of hits, more than a lot of other governors who may have deserved it more, but she's in a very tough situation right now. And James Craig, for a candidate who not everyone has heard of, he's been polling pretty good, which I think will be enough for Michigan to go tilt red. The state of Pennsylvania, Lou Barletta, Josh Shapiro. I think this race is very, very close, but I do think Lou Barletta will narrowly flip this race. And Pennsylvania, before the former Republican governor lost to Tom Wolf, had a trend of going 2 terms Republican, 2 terms Democrat, back and forth, back and forth. So I do think it'll be the Republicans' turn, and I'm expecting 2022 to be a red wave year. So I think Pennsylvania will go red as well. The state of Georgia, Brian Kemp versus most likely Stacey Abrams. This race is by far the most fun and most watched race for 2022. If David Perdue does decide to primary Brian Kemp, I don't think that's necessarily good for the Republican Party because they're focusing a lot of time and attention on hurting another Republican, which I don't think is very smart. So for now, I'm going to assume Perdue does not run because I haven't heard anything saying he will run yet. So for now, I'm expecting Brian Kemp versus Stacey Abrams, and Virginia and New Jersey should give Republicans a little bit of hope. I think by the thinnest of margins, Brian Kemp is able to hold on to another 4 years despite everything that's happened and all the attacks from within his own party. I do think Brian Kemp will hold on and win re-election at this time. The state of New Hampshire, again, it's all about what Sununu does and who the candidates are. We're waiting to see. I think Sununu being on the ballot will be just enough to help the Republicans win as of now. So Republicans get 32 governorships, Democrats have 18. This is a catastrophic red wave nationwide. I mean, I didn't even plan for this to happen at the start, but look at the map, look at all the red. This is an indication of a country who voted Virginia red. I mean, you may see a lot of the governorships being red and think, well, that's too unrealistic. Virginia is... Oh. Sorry. My alarm went off. You may look at all these governorships and think that's a lot of red, that's unrealistic. Virginia just voted for a Republican, and New Jersey only voted for a Democrat by 2 points. So to see all these swing states go red, it is not unrealistic. And to be honest, at this point in time, given Joe Biden's approval ratings, and Republicans now leading in the generic ballot RCP average, which does tend to underestimate Republicans to a degree, I think this map is very, very possible, and if anything, more probable than not. So, 32 Republicans, 18 Democrats. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and leave a comment below telling me what you think is going to happen in the 2022 governor's races. And yeah, that'll do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.